Deep within the whispering woods, three little pigs finally felt ready to build homes of their own. Percy, the eldest, craved speed. He gathered armfuls of golden straw, weaving a house in a single sun-drenched afternoon, quick and cozy. He declared, already dreaming of naps. Pip, the middle brother, fancied himself practical. He chose sturdy sticks, binding them tightly into a neat little cottage, strong and sensible. He chirped, admiring his work, but Penny, the youngest, remembered their mother's wise words. A house must be a fortress, she murmured, gathering heavy, rough-hewn bricks day after long day. She mixed mortar and stacked each brick with painstaking care, her paws growing sore and dusty while her brothers played. Penny labored, driven by a quiet certainty that true safety couldn't be rushed. One crisp autumn morning, a shadow fell across Percy's straw door. It was Wolfgang, the wolf, his stomach rumbling like distant thunder after a long, hungry night. Little pig, let me come in," he boomed, his voice echoing through the flimsy walls. Percy trembled, peeking through a crack. "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," he squeaked. Wolfgang's eyes gleamed. "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." With one mighty breath, the straw house swirled into the air like golden chaff, leaving Percy shivering in the open. He fled, squealing, towards Pip's stick house, Wolfgang loping easily behind. Licking his chops at the thought of two plump pigs for breakfast, Pip slammed his stick door just as Percy tumbled inside. "He's coming," Percy gasped moments later. Wolfgang's deep voice shook the walls. Little pigs, let me come in." "Never," cried Pip bravely, though his voice quavered. "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." Wolfgang inhaled deeply. The first puff made the sticks groan. The second puff sent them rattling. The third, tremendous puff exploded the stick house into 1,000 flying splinters. The two terrified pigs scrambled out, sprinting towards the solid brick refuge Penny had built, Wolfgang's hot breath on their tails. As he savored the chase, Penny flung open her heavy oak door just in time. The three pigs huddled inside, hearts pounding, as Wolfgang arrived. "Little pigs, let me in now," he roared, frustration mounting. "Not by the hair of our chinny chin chins," Penny called back, her voice surprisingly steady despite the fear. Wolfgang snarled. "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow this pile of rocks down." He drew the deepest breath of his life, puffing out his chest until it ached. He blew with all his furious might. The sturdy brick house stood silent and unmoving. He blew again, until the trees bent and leaves swirled, but the bricks held fast. He blew a third time, summoning every ounce of his strength, straining until stars danced before his eyes. The house didn't shudder. Exhausted, dizzy, and utterly defeated, Wolfgang slumped against the unyielding wall. A sharp, unfamiliar pain stabbed his belly. Not hunger, but a deep ache from the impossible effort. He slid down, gasping, a wave of nausea washing over him. Lying there, winded and hurting against the cold brick, a strange thought pierced his hunger. This violence only brings pain. Weeks drifted by. Wolfgang avoided the brick house, haunted by the memory of his failure and that awful bellyache. Hunger gnawed, but the thought of huffing made him queasy. One day, wandering listlessly, he stumbled upon a forgotten patch of wild vegetables near a clear stream. Desperate, he nibbled a bright orange carrot root. It was crisp, surprisingly sweet, and satisfying. He devoured more crunchy radishes, earthy potatoes, peppery watercress. For the first time, his stomach felt full without the heavy dread that followed chasing pigs. A spark ignited within him. He began tending the patch, clearing weeds, watering seedlings under the gentle sun. He discovered the quiet joy of watching things grow, the peace of nurturing life instead of hunting it. His old instincts still whispered, but the memory of that brick-induced pain and the peaceful fullness of carrots were louder. One bright morning, Wolfgang nervously approached Penny's brick house, not with a huff, but with a large basket overflowing with his finest vegetables, fat carrots, glossy eggplants, plump tomatoes, he placed it gently on the step and knocked softly before retreating behind a tree. Penny opened the door, eyes wide with shock at the bounty and the glimpse of gray fur. Day after day, the basket appeared. Curiosity overcame fear. One afternoon, Penny cautiously stepped outside as Wolfgang was leaving the basket. "Wolf?" she called softly. He froze, shamefaced. I brought these," he mumbled, staring at his paws, "for you two. To say sorry for the huffing and the puffing and everything." His voice trembled. "Eating pigs. It just makes my stomach hurt now terribly." He gestured weakly to the vegetables. These are better inside and out." Penny saw the sincerity in his tired eyes, the dirt on his paws from digging, not chasing. A tiny seed of trust began to sprout. News of the reformed wolf spread, met with disbelief and suspicion. Percy and Pip scoffed. "A trick," they warned Penny, but Penny observed Wolfgang's quiet dedication to his garden, his peaceful walks, and the consistent, generous gifts. She started leaving small things in return: a jar of wildflower honey, a loaf of warm bread. One terrifying night, a fierce storm battered the woods. Ancient trees groaned and crashed. Wolfgang, safe in his den, remembered the sturdy brick house. Driven by a new instinct to protect, he raced through the lashing rain. He found Penny struggling against the wind to secure a loose shutter. Silently, he held it firm with his strong shoulders while she hammered. He helped divert flooding rainwater from her door. When dawn broke, revealing the storm's damage, Penny's house stood intact, thanks in part to the wolf. Percy and Pip, surveying their own minor repairs, witnessed it all. The sight of the wolf, soaked and weary, helping their sister, finally melted their last doubts. Peace settled over the woods like a warm blanket. Wolfgang's garden flourished, becoming a shared bounty for all the creatures. He traded carrots for Percy's wild berries, eggplants for Pip's acorn flower. He became the gentle guardian of the clearing, sharing gardening tips with Penny and telling stories, carefully edited, to the adventurous piglets who now played freely near his den. The terrifying huff and puff became a distant, almost mythical memory. On warm evenings, you could often find Wolfgang sitting contentedly on Penny's doorstep, sharing a meal of roasted vegetable stew. The moonlight glinting off their bowls, he'd sigh happily, patting his comfortably full belly, forever grateful that the unyielding strength of bricks hadn't just stopped him, but had somehow, wonderfully, turned him towards the quiet, satisfying crunch of a moonlit carrot. The fear was gone, replaced by the simple, profound comfort of belonging.